get them back into a strong position. Now we get to see them play later on today, but right now, Orgless and Hungry Young and Beautiful on Oasis. Gonna see a lot of Farah play too, very much so outdoor maps here, or areas that you'll see of the map, in which case, Matt straight away onto that Farah. Not surprised to see that at all.
One of the shining lights of the new Young and Beautiful roster, Math coming into it, the Polish DPS who's going to be raining down justice from above, assuming he can get those ults off and maybe have a little bit more success than we saw from the Farahs yesterday.
It's really hard because every single member looking across that roster for Young and Beautiful did. Huge matchup against Nesh last week. Exorath, one of the big Zen players we started speaking about. And Danny was that Wonder Kid Diva player we spoke about last season. There's no one you can look at and say, it's a weak part to this roster, so this could be a very good year for them. Look at Casper rolling out with the May here straight away onto the first point.
No bamboozles from Casper. We thought there might be a bit of a debate. Already getting himself the first kills. The rest of Orgless and Hungry seem to follow suit as they take positional advantage and control of the first capture.
Very, very interesting setup coming through from them because now they're only running that single DPS and essentially treating May as that second DPS for the team. He's actually going to swap off now because they're aware that the problem with May being, of course, you're very, very close range. Issues you're going to find there is you will have a Widow. They will deal with you, or a Farah from long range will also have the answer to you. Went to go to Widow, but his head decided, you know what? Full dive's the thing I like. We're going to roll with that.
That's what I was going to suggest there. You might be able to get away with May a little bit longer if you run in with that dive. Already they're clashing off the point. Matt picking up a kill onto Latex, removing some of that dive potential and the mobility by taking out Derry as well. Casper gets the return onto Gustav, but Did is also going to snipe the head off of Casper. This Young and Beautiful looking for a solid retake very quickly into this round.
Just beating Kevs on the back of the head there as he was trying to go onto the Mercy. We spoke a lot about Kevs' Tracer last week and how prolific he was. Not really the kind of player you expect being able to get beaten down in melee range by a Widowmaker. That's the last kill you expect a Widow to get.
Still clashing, not got the complete control they were looking for as the respawns have come out for Orgless and Hungry. Pulson's going to fly out, will still connect to Did despite not getting the stick. And Kevster looking for more, can't get the spray down as Danny comes in with the drive-by to take him out. Orgless and Hungry, despite looking shaky on that capture, still maintain control at 60%.
There's a lot of good harassment coming in from Kevster, who's keeping both DPS busy there, got rid of the Widowmaker, and then immediately turned onto Math and made sure that he was not being able to focus fire onto the tanks or onto the supports. As soon as that damage aspect is gone, that just opens Casper up to jump into the backline of Young and Beautiful and capitalize on the DPS being distracted. You've seen the outcome so far. They're at 80% on this first round, Tridd.
Maths has got a hefty battering ram in the form of his barrage. It's up to him to find the right time to be able to use it. Sound barrier coming down early for Orgless and Hungry. Barrage is raining, but no one's getting caught out in the rain today, unfortunately. Casper moving to the side, nearly got his Dragon Blade. Just wants to pick off Danny, but he's stunned up by the Brigitte. Did mixing it out from the Widowmaker to come in with that support. Provide a little bit of extra something for Young and Beautiful. Still, they're pushing back, getting the kills they need. Matt trying to escape as Kevster seems to be the only person remaining for Orgless and Hungry, but he knows when he has to back out. 99% though. Excellent first start for Orgless.
Now the big question comes in as to how resilient Young and Beautiful are. Can they hold it out for the full time or not? A little bit of an early out of Denia there I felt on the Lucio, but now that he's switched over to go and play onto the Mercy instead, and now they've also got Eps going across onto the Zen, so now they've got that full damage boost coming through. Wouldn't be surprised to see that all get powered into Castle when he goes in with this blade.
It's going to have to be the answer for Young and Beautiful with just the Transcendence and 2 DPS ultimates available for Kevster and Casper. The timing is going to be crucial. If one of the other players in Orgless and Hungry could force out that trans earlier, or at least put on the pressure, we could see it go all wrong for Young and Beautiful. Kevster removing Dids with the Pulse Bomb, but Young and Beautiful are not to be deterred as they answer with kills of their own. Leo Dead channeling some of the RCK magic, getting a kill onto Gustav, and Casper's Blade falls a bit short, no kills to be found.
Oh,
the support is there from Ben Best to take him out. Exorath going to be the one getting the kill.
The right click and the kick, more than enough to bring down an ulting Genji straight in front of your face, apparently. Really well played by Exorath, already getting a few call-outs last week. Now they're switching things up once again, though. Kevster going onto the Widow, Casper straight across onto the Farah. They're saying enough is enough. We've got to get Math out of the sky.
The Farah Mercy combination, they might not win the direct aerial fights, but they might be able to get a little bit more ground control for their team. Already you see Casper going low, but he's getting topped up as Leodeds goes to contend and be his wingman in the sky as he takes Math out of the air. Moving around onto the point, Epps is close to that Transcendence himself. Still barraging and peppering Young and Beautiful as they're trying to enter. A little bit of space clearance being given by that self-destruct, but no kills to be named. Kevster finding the double on 2 of the supports of Young and Beautiful, leaving just Exorath to pick up the slack. Here we already see the Transcendence pop out. Kevster again getting on the board. Denia reviving Latex. Orgless and Hungry have the man advantage. They just need to fight against the stall tactics of Young and Beautiful.
Up to 99%, almost for Young and Beautiful, but this is the final potential opportunity here. They're going to have to throw bodies on the point, and that never goes well, Tridd.
Yeah, it's all about drip feeding kills. Kevster, if he's got aim like that, it doesn't matter how you drip feed it, he's going to cut through that water just fine. And Math falling into the same trap we saw with a lot of Pharaohs yesterday. Used the barrage to an isolated target, and Casper capitalizes perfectly. Again, Danny coming out onto the point. Barrage just seems like a bit of overkill. They don't need to hold on to it. Overtime ticks down. Orgless and Hungry take control of City Center.
It's really scary and hard to bet against Young and Beautiful because this is exactly how they started out last week. They lost the first map 2-0 to British Hurricane, but showed how strong they were on the other map types. So you don't want to write Orgless and Hungry off here and say they're getting a free ride through here with a 2-0. It was pretty close, still going to almost 99-99. But for Young and Beautiful, you've got to be concerned, one, about the fact that they might turn things around, but even scarier, what if they don't and we just go back to seeing kind of the difficulties they faced last season?
A lot of inconsistency from the Young and Beautiful roster last season, and we're hoping they're going to turn over a new leaf and just bring that high level of play we knew they were capable of. And it started well in week 1, Des. We all know about that. With their victory over British Hurricane, just need to keep it up.
Yeah, Did's going across onto the Hanzo here. He was the Widow specialist last week, and it was Math instead who was playing Hanzo. Clearly here on Gardens, thinking we need that Pharah in the sky, and Did's not much of a projectile player. Let's put him on the Hanzo and make sure Matt stays on that Pharah.
Opting for the projectile option. Meanwhile, Orgless and Hungry Kevster is still going to be on the Tracer. Math winning the first dogfight in the sky. This Casper feeling the burn of that. Legday takes out Ben Best, and Kevster onto the back line.
Every time!
Can't deal with Exo-Wrath. This guy is starting to rack up the kill count on his Zenyatta. And Legday again dealing with Math, where the rest of his team aren't possible to do so. Danny about to go low. That all the Discord really going to help win that D.Va matchup. Legday has been incredible so far this game, and he's looking to carry on that form. Did's taking Casper out of the sky. Self-destruct being popped. It is inside the Winston bubble, so it's going to be a little negated. Expired, but Young and Beautiful don't take any chances. They move around the terrain, use that to keep themselves alive. Kevster's still going at it with a pepper, close to getting that pulse bomb. There's an isolated Exo-Wrath. You can't kill him now. I don't know what you're doing. He's called in support. There's still no kill coming out for Kevster. Seems like a panic pulse bomb and no kills to be found. This guy just won't die.
Even with the dive coming from a Tracer and Winston, which is guaranteed death for Zen, he manages to live, and now he's got the trans online.
Trans available, might be needing in this next fight. Storm Arrow finds 2, but he just needs the third to get the kill, and already Casper has maintained his health. He's got that pocket mercy in the sky. Meanwhile, Young and Beautiful getting the kills even without Did's involvement. Exo-Wrath finishing up where Did's couldn't. What is it with this bloodthirsty Zenyatta? He won't die, he's getting the kills, and he's doing everything for Young and Beautiful so well.
Clearly taking a bit of inspiration from Jaws with the aggressive Zen style, but on the other side, you've got to consider the tanks coming through for this Young and Beautiful lineup. Ben Best, always regarded as a big Rhyme player. Been playing Winston a lot this week and last week, but with Danny, you can see the synergy really starting coming together. Every time you see one of them get a kill in the kill feed, chances are you will see the other's portrait right next to them because the assists are coming through so well. So whilst Orgless and Hungry are struggling to dive into the backline and kill Exo-Wrath, Ben Best and Danny are managing to do that. They're just not managing to close these fights out afterwards.
Young and Beautiful seem to have guest rounds. They have a full spread of ultimates on display. The barrage coming out from Casper, and Exo-Wrath ends it a little bit shortly. Math tries to go for his own, but no kills to be found. Dragon Strike cuts through the point and cuts through Denia. Math's going to be the one to finish up with the kill. Because he goes so low to the ground, Kevster's going to be the one to pick up the kill. Diving onto the Mercy. He's had difficulty taking out these supports and still can't manage it. The support from Young and Beautiful to come and back up their backline has been strong this game, and it's unable to allow the diving DPS of Kevster to deal with the damage. Still contesting on the point. Tanks have got themselves firmly placed on there. They're still contesting. Young and Beautiful have control as Casper's going to take out Ben Best, and Math can end him and avenge his comrade. Still, no support kills, and harassment from Dids, who switched over to the Tracer, just ups the pressure onto Kevster. He's not going to be able to get much done. He's got a Tracer to contend with as well. Already trying to find Winston. Dids taking out Latex. Legday's into the sky, going for Exo-Wrath. We know how this rodeo goes, and he loses his mech to try and fight Dids himself. But the Bunny Blaster could be strong here for him. Still going to get picked off, and it's best to jump off and reset with the rest of your team.
Young and Beautiful were essentially losing that fight from the 40% mark. The tanks were a bit split. Danny got picked off. It looked like it was the end of it. And Orgless and Hungry have more bodies on the point. They picked off the Winston. That should have been it. But still, all the way up to 90%, they managed to have Dids on point, stalling out for the whole team to arrive. They win it back, and that's a real sign of character for this team. Orgless and Hungry, they've got to pull out something special here if they want to close out Oasis right now.
No directs to be found until Math lands the first blow. He's going to finish it up with the second, the 1-2 punch, taking Casper out of the sky. Gustav bringing Exo-Wrath dead back to life. And already
Nice.
Epps is going to pop out that Transcendence. Should be the extra nudge Orgless and Hungry needs to get control of this point and flip it at 99%.
There we go. That was the kind of fight I was looking for, at least the recap coming through from last time, but Dids is still being his usual pesky self, dancing in and around the point, just wasting time. This 5 to 10% that he's gaining here just by stalling out, that can be huge for his team because Tracer will get back in the fight very, very quickly, and you never know when it's going to come down to at the end of the round, Tridd. They might just find themselves winning that final crucial fight at about the 95% mark, in which case, all these delays he's doing, they add up.
All it takes for Young and Beautiful is that one good fight. They can get a team kill, they secure themselves the point and move on to the third and final round of Oasis and maybe even come out with the map win to kick off the series. Everyone slowed down the pace. Orgless and Hungry, they're aware that their time still needs to accrue, and Young and Beautiful, they're also aware of that. They know they've got time to play with, so no need to rush in just yet. Going for the contention, Sticky onto Epps, so Dids assassinating Epps, removing the Zenyatta from the field. Gustav gonna resurrect Marth. Dids again onto Casper. Ben Best, he's had a massive improvement since Season 1. He's really showing up in this game, diving onto those crucial targets. Exo-Wrath still on fire as Math comes in for Kevster. That was the team fight Young and Beautiful we're looking for. It's all about rushing for Orgless and Hungry.
And it's working out so far because they're taking this point. Is pretty much theirs and guaranteed here. Wipe out for Math. Orgless and Hungry go down. This should be going all the way, Tridd, but naturally there's always one more pesky Tracer somewhere.
Their classic control stall. They've even got Casper on the Sombra for extra annoyance. Leodet has been demexed and then he's going to lose his life as well because Math's going to be a sharpshooter from the sky. Young and Beautiful tie up Ilios and they force out the third round.
Very curious to see how the teams choose to mix this up now because University going into it tends to be more of a tank-based map. You get a lot more Junkrat, you might see a Roadhog every now and then. Ryan and Zarya are practically guaranteed. But one big thing we've noticed a lot about Young and Beautiful is they will stick to dive tanks more often than not. It seems to be their, not quite fallback comp when they don't know what to do, but it's the one they feel the most comfortable on. So I'm curious to see what changes, or if they choose to stick by what they've gone through before. Can't talk about hovers, so give it 15 seconds before I even commentate on the left-hand side of the screen now.
I mean, there's a lot of choke points. The Latex can drop that deployable cover, and Epps can just come in with the deploy in mid-air, switch it over, and start spraying onto the point.
And we saw some interesting strategy yesterday. Giganti double shield on Volskaya first. We've seen crazier stuff, but they're rolling out now with the Orisa and the Junkrat, so instead going for more of a ball and chain trap.
Roadhog, Des. It's a bit of a...
Did I say Junkrat?
You said Junkrat, my bad.
It's
fine,
Australian.
Lore-wise, they're similar. But anyway, Math from the skies, already picking off the high ground that Orgless and Hungry have brewed for themselves.
Oh, he got one.
A knock off. Kevster, no grapple hook available to keep him back up in the skies. Still going to pepper with these rockets, and the deployable cover can only hold so much damage before it breaks and allows these rockets to go through. Goes for the concussive blast again. No one meets their demise to the environment. But while they're on the high ground, Young and Beautiful, they're playing tight to the edge, forcing them to expose themselves for Math to take out, and they get control of the point.
This is my biggest confusion about this comp here, is generally you play double shield when you can put at least one foot on the point and make sure you're continually contesting it. From the high ground here, you can't really do that. What you're looking to try and do for Epps is to get a hook onto someone, isolate them out, turn the fight into a 5 versus 6, and then capitalize on the advantage. But as it stands right now, that's not the advantage they might need to Dids, but they haven't yet made it work. There we go. Now they're making it
Step
work.
1, get the pick. Step 2, begin to capitalize. Step 3 is to capture the point, and this is the only one they need to do. Danny going down with the last hurdle. They're going to flip it over.
All it takes, one big pick from the pig, and you can take that point quite easily. Now, Young and Beautiful on their side. Ben Best actually going to switch over as he's about to hit the shadow. So this is quite key. Something a lot of people probably won't always do is switch over. Even when you're about to get your ultimate, if it's not working for your team, switch over there and they say, right guys, it's tank-based comp, we need to get to the high ground, we need to be able to access this Orisa composition. Let's go for dive. That's exactly what they've opted towards.
Math going for a Trojan horse strategy, entering the map from within the reinforcements that Orgless and Hungry have put themselves up. Ben Best going already low, going to commit to the dive anyway with the Orb of Harmony and the Pocket for Mercy. Dids finding Kevster, taking out the Widowmaker, goes round for the second sniper. He's double dipping as he goes to get another kill. Latex going to fall to his pistols as well, and Denny is also going to fall. Dids has been running around this team, and it looked like he was doing all the fragging by himself.
Really impressive dive there, and at first it looks a bit fragmented out of Young and Beautiful, but essentially BenBest and Dids went straight into the backline to cause chaos. Danny hung behind for another couple of seconds, so he looked like he was lagging behind, but it was to protect his backline and make sure there was no big counter response coming out of Orgless and Hungry. And as you saw, there was no response, but their response now is to mix things up once again. They're going towards that good old 3-3 Tridd.
We all love the bit of the Ghost composition. They're going for a bit of a Giganti flare, taking the ground that Young and Beautiful once had and forcing a reposition for them to capitalize on the transition. Casper taking out Exoraf does a lot of a tip of the better job of it on Zarya than he did on dive DPS. Gustav going to bring him back. Here comes the Dragon Blade. No one to be found. No one's going to get any cuts on them and bleed out here. But they've got a trapped Casper in the corner. The healing won't be able to come through for him as Kevster goes down low. Primal Rage finding the double with BenBest, taking out the tag team all by himself. Legday and the Casper answering the call of their own, but Danny comes in with the cleanup. Young and Beautiful still having control at this point. They're getting to 75%. Squeaky bum time for Orgless and Hungry.
Very much so, considering a very dominant first round. This is looking a bit shaky. Young and Beautiful almost warming up, and this is something I was speaking to Promise about. He said a lot of our games will be the first games in the schedule for the day, so actually our warm-up tends to be in that first game. It's definitely looking that way right now because their dive here is looking very clean and clinical. Orgless and Hungry struggling to respond.
Kevster already with a quick elimination onto Did, so that big threat for Young and Beautiful has been muted. They've still got Exoraf and they've got Matt to try and pick up some of the damage potential, but Legday finding BenBest as well, removing some of the chunkiness from this roster. And with Danny going down, who's going to step on the point to maintain control and not get picked off immediately? It's all about the delay for them, but it's ultimately going to flip over to Orgless.
5v6, good pick from Kevster onto Dids as well. Just shutting down that Tracer who's been harassing that backline all game long. And we spoke a bit about Dids last week. We said that he's this guy coming into the roster who we've seen plays Widow pretty well, especially against British Hurricane. He did pretty good. This week, all about the Tracer, and he's definitely showing off his skills there as well. We knew him back from the UK days as a Tracer player, and he's showing that he can play it very well.
Bit of a UK Lanimal, the aggression from Orgless and Hungry. They're taking the fight to Young and Beautiful before they hit the point. Denia committing some mortal combat to Exoraf. He's going to get rid of him and remove him. 75%, they're getting closer to 99%. Kevster, the only one to blow the ultimate with that rally to top everyone's armor up, and they still held on to it because not much fight was brought up from Young and Beautiful. With 5 ultimates on the board to potentially a max of 4 from Young and Beautiful, it's looking like the economy's going in favor of Orgless here.
One big final fight, but that trans can be everything for them here. It depends how they choose to chain it up. Of course, we've seen what Triple Tank can do. Here they go, Tridd. All the ults coming out.
Shatter being dropped on straight away to kick things off. Already a D-Mech on Danny, and now he's running around about his protection. But he popped the self-destruct in time. Dragon Blade onto Legday, but he's already got the double kill with his self-destruct. He's done more than enough before he dies. Latex was the one who made sure that happened as Kevster follows up, being the squire to the Reinhardt and getting the kill on Danny. BenBest will forward, just leaves Map on the point. I know Exoraf is around here somewhere. You can see the orbs flying, but he can't touch the point without going down. Casper finally getting that prize he wanted. Orgless and Hungry take Oasis.
Unlucky for BenBest because his Primal Rage came online about 2 seconds before he died, but got stun locked, couldn't pop the ult, couldn't stagger. It was Dids' job to do that on previous maps, but they were relying on the main tank to do it, couldn't get the ult out, so unfortunately they do drop the map. But very close, promising signs for Orgless and Hungry as well. Definitely showing us that last week, bit of a write-off for them. This week they're here to mean business.
Well, they need to get that first win. We keep talking about how maybe next week they'll improve. Maybe next week they'll improve, but you've only got 5 weeks to show up. If you keep stalling, you're not going to have enough opportunity to get those wins, which you may have warranted if you could level out your play. So nice to see Orgless and Hungry. With an already quick turnaround, it's all about the consistency now throughout the rest of the series. Sometimes it can be just that 1 week, though. Week 1, you can write off. Week 2, that's when it starts becoming a worrying trend. But as it stands right now, promising signs from both sides. Still hard to call which way the series is going to go. Only one way to find out. Only one map down so far. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to bring you the second. You better be raising your ramen at home because Orgless and Hungry, they're 1-0 up in the series so far. Just need to see if they can jump into that second map with the same consistency. Otherwise, these noodly boys could lose control of this series.
Cooking up a pretty hot broth so far, you might say. For Young and Beautiful, though, they got a response to bring to this one. They didn't look bad on that first map. It was a very, very close third and final map. The second one quite decisive in their favour. Orgless and Hungry, though, very, very dominant to begin things off. Yeah,
and they had great control over map 1, and then unfortunately had to take it out to the third map because it couldn't keep control of Gardens. Just fell over to the pressure from Young and Beautiful. We're going to jump into the second map. It's going to be a hybrid pickup, and it's on your screens right now. It's King's Row. Dids is going to feel right at home.
Interesting, because this was the turning point, and I know we're harping on about this a lot. For Young and Beautiful, this was when things turned around against British Hurricane. Their attack was so decisive, it completely shut British Hurricane down. The defense was interesting because a lot of teams are running things like the Orisa Junkrat or Orisa Double Sniper on the first point. They chose to run full dive, which was very bizarre to see. Again, it's one of those situations where you maybe haven't perfected the comp or strat you're looking to run. You go back to playing dive, it works wonders, or so it did last week. Whether or not it does against Orgless and Hungry, different story.
I'm really liking the double sniper defense we're seeing as well when you get the Widow and a Hanzo and you sit yourselves on opposite sides of the defensive area and split the attention of the aggressing team. It's really difficult to deal with if you're not able to get one of those picked off early because then you're stuck in the middle as a Reinhardt, changing, pivoting on an axis, trying to block every shot you can, and they're going to out-damage your turns.
We are aware those team names are currently reversed. We'll get them foot sorted for you in just a moment. We're going to see Orgless and Hungry on the attack first and foremost. It's going to be Young and Beautiful on the defense. Looks like they are mixing things up a bit this week, though. Or maybe they are, because Benbas is currently trotting straight back to spawn. I imagine that's going to be a Winston coming out.
Might be. They wanted maybe a little bit more of a mobile
Finally!
Tank. Oh, it's going to bring the Orisa instead. So we thought they were going to go mobile. They've gone even more immobile.
That's a sign of a team developing, because again, last week was all the dive. Spoke to Promise, he was like, look, we had 5 days with this roster to try and perfect this, and you can't practice every single map you're bound to play. So we went with dive. Now we've had more time to work towards things. You might see some changes coming through. This is one of those changes, going definitely more towards the standard setup that we see on King's Row first.
Not got a lot of mobility for Young and Beautiful's DPS. They're going for the double sniper on the offense. So this shield and this static position that Orgless and Hungry might want to take, Young and Beautiful might want to take, could be advantageous to them. I'm getting debated by the UI as well. They're going to peel around through Hotel. Looks like they're going for a very long walk around the back of the point, trying to remove that ground and entrenched position.
Are we calling this the Giganti now?
It is the Giganti special, just going all the way around already. Young and Beautiful losing their mech. Casper was wise to the decision. Kevster eyeing up his sights and Dids. Well, he's just going to fall prey to a lack of awareness, shall we say.
Interesting setup here. They found themselves pinned back into this corner, and that's horrible because you find yourself getting poked at so many angles. You've got bombs raining in, you've got arrows raining in, you've got sniper shots raining in. It's not a happy place to be, and evidently not, because in this case, Orgless and Hungry are steaming their way through.
So it's like a quasi-Giganti. They kind of wrapped around the back, then they kind of came back around. I think once they got the pick on to Dids, I think it was fairly obvious that they just didn't need to do that. They could just walk onto the point with the man advantage.
I had no idea why Dids was there on the low ground when he should have been set up with his team, either in the top window or on point, or not really on point, but behind the Orisa shield with the other members of his team. Being completely isolated there, Kevster was like, oh, there's a Dids. Headshot. Guys, it's 5v6, we can win, let's go. And then just swept the point from there. Bit of a misplay from them on the first point. Maybe take that one back to the drawing board and opt to dive next time.
Maybe. I don't know. They want to go back to dive, though. Dive, like I said, it seems to be a knee-jerk reaction based on Coach Promise's comments. Hopefully, they're going to be able to find a more solid game plan and stick towards it. Already into the streets phase, and Young and Beautiful, so Orgless and Hungry, are already moving themselves down the corner. Kevster, Casper, both picking up kills onto the tank. So it's a D-Mech onto Danny. They're looking for that kill, though. They really want it. With the Infrasights, they know exactly where the targets are. Legday goes and cleans up Dids. Casper again on this Hanzo. One of his solid picks that he's had in the first 2 games we've seen. Again, Exorap can't deal with that aggression from the Storm Arrow.
Well, the names may as well stay reversed, because for Young and Beautiful, it was those guys we were speaking about having a very decisive attack, but for Orgless and Hungry, they are embodying those words right now. Really impressive play, being able to consistently counter the dives that are coming through. Every time you see Benbas goes in, attention straight away is onto him, and he gets melted down by Casper. Look how much time they've got, Tridd. 5 minutes 30 to push, and they've got ultimates online to play with.
This is looking like a CIS Hope payload as the way it's darting down the streets of London into the Foundry section of this map. Latex holding up the shield, throws out a flame strike. Matt now starting to come back into this game with the Storm Arrow. Denia brings Epps back from the death. Going to bring him back onto the field, and Casper already trying to eye up sights. So Orgless and Hungry, they're able to actually push this a little bit further, and Young and Beautiful going to take it a little bit slower, but if they play it too slow, then they're just going to get run over by Orgless. Kevster finding Dids after the resurrection.
It's so frustrating when you die, you get res and you die straight away. It's like, Mercy, why? Why did you bring me back into this world at this exact place at this exact time? But still, all the kill feed is going across to Orgless and Hungry. This is a stonking performance, Tridd. This is what we wanted to see out of them last week. It really begins to raise questions about just how good Angry Titans are, about how much they've elevated their play. Young and Beautiful are flailing for a response. Home
stretch for Orgless and Hungry. Young and Beautiful coming out the spawn room already with the Dragon Strike taking out Matt. A shot from Kevster. There seemed to be no response from Young and Beautiful there as Orgless and Hungry walking in with over 4 minutes left on the clock, Des.
No breaks on this ramen train, pushing their way all the way through with 4 minutes 32 in the time bank. That's an impressive amount of time to play with.
Do you notice that the time started at 4 minutes and just went up instead of going down? It's like, oh, okay, we're doing it this way around.
Too used to seeing those timers go down. But Orgless and Hungry,
as you would expect.
Right, that's the way it normally goes, but that's just how decisive that was. Had a little tea break here at the final corner and just thought, guys, brief pause. Let's say our prayers for Young and Beautiful, who are about to get slaughtered in this final fight, and rightly so. They storm their way through. That's the kind of stuff that you would expect, that we saw actually out of Angry Titans last week. Gibraltar against Orgless and Hungry. They stormed through with 6.5 minutes left in the time bank, I believe. It was a very impressive push. Orgless and Hungry clearly saying, we can do that too, and they're showing it here today. For Young and Beautiful, I want to see them mix things up a little bit though. We've again spoke about how they like to opt towards dive. Are they going to go towards that once again because it worked well for them last week against Hurricane? This could be their signature attack we keep on speaking about, or Orgless and Hungry will find the response.
They're going to take over the defensive duties. Double sniper for them. Let's see them split up, divert the attention of Young and Beautiful. Can we get the D.Va counter that we usually see, where the D.Va's able to just distract both of them, draw up the attention, and it frees up the ground war to be won?
It was a distraction, but also very confusing for the D.Va, because last week it was the case where you'd fly towards one sniper, you get dinged from the back. You turn around to deal with them, you get dinged from the back again. And although it did distract them, if they're quick enough and they bring that D.Va down, then suddenly you're finding yourself once again in that 6v5 situation we keep on speaking about, and you're winning that fight pretty much outright.
Fortunately, it's not like Winston where you can turn your back as you're in transit. You have to fly at them face first. Quite an easy hitbox to hit on D.Va. It's the center of the mass, which is usually the largest target to hit.
Absolutely. Remember last week as well, it was Copenhagen Flames who had a very, very convincing defense on the first point with Darnier on the Widow and Naga playing on Junkrat. Fortunately, still lost out their series, but going to see more of the same on the defense here for Young and Beautiful. Double sniper is the new standard. Sometimes you will see Junkrat coming through. In this case, it's all about that double sniper.
Orgs and Hungry, they have no affinity for the high ground. The second that Young and Beautiful came through the gates and they knew what the composition was, they're like, okay, let's take this down on the ground floor. Let's try and take it to the mat and see what we can not wrestle you into submission. Now going above over the gates. Got himself that Hanzo to use. Snipes out a better mind, but really he's looking for a kill. And it seems that we got the number pulled up by Kevster. He knows where they are. Dids removing Latex. And Kevster going to avenge his fallen comrades. So they've leveled it out, but without the tank mass on the point, it becomes harder for them to defend it.
You spoke very nicely there about the tank mass, Tridd. That's exactly why we saw them drop down to the low ground. As soon as they saw the tank lineup coming out of Young and Beautiful, they wanted to respond immediately and not allow them to push into the point and then have to fight back to take their own point.
Unable to finish off the kill as Casper comes in, gets resurrected by Denier. Dragon Strike cuts through the hotel, but Epps had no time to react to that. Will fall down to it. They've stepped off the point. They've got themselves a third of the pie so far as Mac walks into a bit of a Hell in a Cell match with two tanks. Definitely not where you want to be as Hanzo, especially now that you don't have Scatter Arrow.
He's unlucky for Epps getting dropped there because he's super close to the trans as well, so he might be able to get back in time if his team can hold. And to be fair, Casper and Kevster doing God's work, keeping everyone away from the point here. There we go, they've cleaned up and they're going to get a reset.
Well, both of them angels of the Lord, it would appear, with divine aim from Kevster, taking out Math on top of that push. Push, bus.
I love how last week it was Dids on the Widow we spoke about, and this week it was the Tracer, especially on the first map. For Kevster, it's worked exactly the way around. Last week we were all speaking greatly about his Tracer, now it's the Widow and his Graviton Surge.
Swing your hammer, let the dragon fly through the Graviton Surge as multiple tank kills are coming up for Casper. Follows it up with the Storm Arrow onto Math, and already Young and Beautiful are going back to the spawn room to try it all over again.
Very good convincing defense coming out of Orgless and Hungry, and just towards the end of Oasis, it looked like we saw Young and Beautiful warming up. They've got to go back to the drawing board and start all over again and get that warm-up back in action, because Orgless and Hungry with a very convincing defense, and I wasn't too sure when I saw the Zarya Ryan, but as it stands, they are playing it impeccably well.
Zarya Ryan is just so beefy, Des. It's so hard to dislodge. If it's not the protective shield from Reinhardt, it's the protective barrier coming out. Math with a triple kill, and Did's picking up one of his own. It doesn't matter how beefy you are. If you're getting dinged by a Widowmaker, you're going down. That's a sniper special for Young and Beautiful.
3 for each sniper. Incredible stuff. And just as we were speaking about singing the praises of Orgless and Hungry and about how, wow, they're defending so well, the worst part was 3 people died at the start of that, and it wasn't a tank, which meant none of the supports were hiding behind the tank, sorry. They were exposed. The snipers were like, oh, 3 supports, drop them down. Nice and easy fight to win when those tanks have got no healing support.
Waiting to regroup. Orgless and Hungry just need to make sure they have the numbers, because Young and Beautiful have gone very aggressive down the streets already, trying to clear a path for that payload to just be eased in rather than having to brute force all the way. Did's taken out Denia, so already abusing the sightlines he's gained for himself. You see him in the corner of your screen. Casper takes a peek, but he knows he can't win the challenge. Instead, he's going to focus on the target in front of him. It's Matt. He's got a Dragon Strike in his pocket, and Casper's going to be joining him. Still available, might want to send this through the wall, but Orgless and Hungry, they're still playing very far back. They're just having to wait, and then letting Young and Beautiful take so much ground. I think they want to fight it at an even spawn point balance. Here comes the Dragon Strike from the wall. Cut off the reinforcements. Ben Best gets the shatter, but it's blocked out by the protective barriers and the Transcendence. Kevster, Leoded, they're going back on the counter-attack, and Latex follows up as well. They've got the kill, and they stopped the payload right where they want it.
It was like a game of chess with both of those Reinhardts using their shadows there, and that Ben Best tried to use it, didn't really catch anyone. Latex gets it and gets down the D.Va. So again, once that tank is out the way, Ben Best has been removed, the D.Va has been charged out the way. It just opens up the floor for the snipers to do God's work and clean up the backline of Young and Beautiful. Another fantastic fight.
3 elements in the pocket for Young and Beautiful. They got the Infrasight, so they got the wall hacks, they've got the Tranquility, and of course a self-destruct from Danny. How they partner these together could dictate how this goes. Graviton Surge came out. I believe that was actually eaten by Danny, as I couldn't find the Surge on the map anywhere. Tanks are going to clash on the ground wars. Casper peeking around the corner. Already Ben Best going to move forward. Matt finding Eps means a lack of healing, and that's the go button. And Matt from the side again with the Storm Arrow, taking out Kevster.
Oh.
Finds Denia as well. Can he get that final kill? It's right in front of you, Matt. You can do it. Calculate the trigonometry, get that shot, and bang into Casper. That's going to be Young and Beautiful moving into the final phase.
Clearly missed out a few of the lectures while he was doing his master degree there. It took a bit of a while to bring down that final Hanzo, but Casper, like the Ghost himself, seemingly unable to be hit by any of those final projectiles coming his way. So you just send in a big hammer and just go, hey, whoosh. Out the way he goes, they managed to push their way through. It's definitely taking Young and Beautiful a while. They've got 3 minutes in the time bank. They're already down by 1 minute and 40 seconds to what Orgless and Hungry achieved on their attack.
Matt found that cheeky avenue. He's going to use it as a zoning Dragon Strike, and Danny to capitalize on the chaos by finding Eps. Dids wins that War of the Widows. Casper going to be knocked down by the Earth Shatter, and actually it's going to be Gustav picking up the kill. Go and battle Mercy on him as Denia brings Eps back so he can use that Transcendence and top up the rest of Orgless and Hungry. Ben Best trapped in the corner, getting double support pocketed, but there's enough from energy from Leodeds to cut through it.
And the big fight being won back in their favor. Orgless and Hungry, every second they get here plays in their favor when they go for their next overtime attack. That's assuming Young and Beautiful even get to the end. They've got 2 minutes to go, and already you're looking at that combo coming online for Orgless and Hungry. They've got the Grab Dragons.
2 minutes left for Young and Beautiful to complete, and Kevster going to add a couple more seconds into their debt by taking out Matt. Unless Gustav gets in there with the Resurrection, no more people to be lost in the next cooldown window. Casper leveling the playing field by getting Ben Best, but the Resurrection's already been used. I don't know what you're going to do. You have to wait. And he's so close to an Earth Shatter. He's crucial to your next set play.
The only thing they've really got going for them right now is another defensive ultimate, so they've now got 2 online, and they've got the Earth Shatter. But on the other side, they've still got that Panic Grab, and with Danny, he's the one you're looking for to go for a big eat here, but he's got to find himself in the right place at the right time if he wants to catch that.
Each of them got a key. They're going to put him into the slot, both turn him around, and there comes the bomb as it cuts through the rest of Young and Beautiful.
They still win.
The Transcendence, so strong, as well as the Valkyrie healing that Gustav wasn't caught up, was enough to sustain through the damage. So the bomb turned out to be a bit of a dud, but Young and Beautiful now on the home stretch with 1 minute left to go.
It's always that big question with the Transcendences. Do you use them, do you not? Because there's a Mercy damage boost in the Dragons, it's not going to work. However, that one paid off hugely for them. Young and Beautiful might complete here with less than a minute on the clock.
Exaraf being bloodthirsty again. You need to watch out for this guy. Dragon Strike cuts through the payload, but the rest of Orcs and Hungry are smart enough to move away. Casper finding a double now onto this Genji, diving onto the backline, finding Dids and Exaraf. The self-destruct from Dani to answer one of the Leodeads. Dani again with Denia. Maps picking up kills. Orgless and Hungry, they're trying to level out the bodies. Nice dodge there, completely to negate that Earth Shatter, and Latex remains control of the point. Dani's going to jump off the edge of the map. 30 seconds, one last push for Young and Beautiful.
Literally one more. Gustav, the only ult they're likely to get online in this unless Exaraf does God's work and manages to pick himself off the Trans. But Casper, he's got the blade about to come online as well. Wright charged that incredibly quickly given he was on Hanzo literally 60 seconds ago. Kevster gets the opening pick. There is no Transcendence opportunity for them. This could be it, Tridd.
This blade is going to be so big for Casper. The resurrection comes out, but he's still at 65%. He's not going to have the Transcendence to answer. Casper's waiting for the opportunity. He's pulled the button, and he's going to go on to Exaraf. Dashes through him, finds Math. He's looking for the Mercy. One more slash, but he doesn't have the verticality. Shurikens might have to finish it off. It doesn't matter though. The rest of Young and Beautiful have been smashed to the ground. Orgless and Hungry go 2-0 in the series.
After last week's performance for Young and Beautiful, no one would have anticipated coming into the half, except maybe themselves, that Orgless and Hungry would be 2-0 up. Really impressive performances by them so far. Young and Beautiful looking a bit scattered at time, you've got to say, but the coordination coming out of Orgless and Hungry, especially the work being done by Kevster on that Widow, whew, good stuff. Really want to see more of it in the second half as well. This could be that redemption second week that we were speaking about.
Yeah, just getting the teething problems out of the way during week 1, coming to week 2 strong. Well, that was the first half of the matchup. We're going to go over to the analysts to see what they thought of it.